If you are feeling stressed out, I totally get it. And you're in luck, because on today's episode, we're going to teach you how to hit the reset button on many different aspects of your life. Welcome back to, yet again, another episode of the Upgrade My Rituals podcast. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Kevin McKella, the host, and this is the show for stressed out overachievers who are looking to design their ideal day. Instead of being completely overwhelmed by trying to instill all these different new habits, we teach you how to actually create this North Star of a day where even if we come close to hitting it and checking off all those boxes, you're going to feel great about all the things you accomplished that day, but where your life is headed, where your finances and your family and your relationships and your mind and your body and all these things that we think are just a pipe dream to be able to actually execute and take consistent action on every single day. But that's the key. Consistent action every day is the way we move the needle. And with me saying all this and getting so hyper, that could stress you out and could sound a little overwhelming. And that's why today we're going to talk about how do we actually just hit reset? How do we start over, start fresh, and just start from square one? So if you are new here to this channel, please consider subscribing and of course hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time a new episode drops. And if you are here again and already subscribed, thank you so much and welcome back. So today we're going to talk about 5 different ways that I know that you can actually hit the reset button and just kind of wipe the table clean and just start from scratch. Because a lot of times we just have so much on our plates where it just gets it's just overwhelming. We have to just literally start from scratch. So the first way that you can actually hit the metaphorical reset button is thinking about the mental reset button and your mental state. What we need to do is look at all the mail that's piling up. We need to look at all of the things that we have laying around, and we need to start to organize them. And we have to have a literal inbox. In our house, we have this little it's actually almost like a mail slot, if you will. It's one of those, if you've ever been to a doctor's office and you see like they have the files outside of each door, the little thing to put the files in, that's what we have. It's a pretty one, but we have it for the mail. So when we get mail, we don't just lay it on random tables, we put it in that section, and that may pile up for a while, and that's okay because that's literally the mail capture. For me, my third drawer in my desk is my office capture. So you need to, number one, set up a system to enable to capture whatever you have to, that you have coming in physically, whether it's mail, papers, files, whatever it is. But more importantly is that if you don't have this, first we have to clear the air. We have to go through all of our mail. We have to take maybe half an hour to an hour and do all this. Throw out all the bills we don't need. Well, pay your bills, but throw out all the junk stuff we don't need and go through any of the files that we don't need or do need. And even if you don't have enough time to actually process them, because that's a whole nother real conversation, but at least now you have the ones that you're not sure of, leave them in your newly formed capture section, and eventually you'll carve out the time to do that. Maybe that's on your Keystone ritual once a week. The second thing that I like to do is when I'm trying to hit the reset button is take a look at my schedule. My schedule is something that can get out of hand. And it's not that it's so chaotic because it's so different every day and I have so many different things. Sometimes I just need a day. So sometimes I need more than a day. So one of the things I actually have planned this winter is I have to get snowboarding again. Snowboarding is one of my, I have many different action sports is my hobbies. I love anything that has a board or blades or skates or anything that goes fast. And for me, snowboarding is a great day to just drop everything, forget everything, change my environment, and just spend a day not doing all the things that I've been trying to do that haven't been working, right? So I go out, I get some fresh air. I just enjoy something that I'm doing, but more importantly, I'm clearing my schedule, and it may be during the week. For most people, they need more than one day. And even for me, I need more than one day sometimes. Every year we like to at least go on one vacation. That's something that me and my wife and I, we have to do more of, and we have to make it more of a priority, is to go on more vacations. If you do a vacation right, it's definitely a clearing of the schedule. Most of our vacations are pretty low budget. With that being said, we just kind of chill. Like last year or the year before, we went up to Lake Placid, and it was great. We just ate, drank, walked around, went to the Winter Olympics thing. And just chilled and just had a good time. Put some space in between you and your stressful schedule. Okay, the third way that I like to hit the reset button is on my digital life. My digital life sometimes gets a little crazy. If you've ever seen someone's desktop that has a million different icons on it, then you know what I'm talking about. It may be yours. What I like to do is I like to purge my desktop, so get as much as I can off of it. I think I have like 3 things on it. Then what I do for my digital life is I make sure I organize my digital capture life. So a lot of times I have a system where I have my physical captures, and then I have my digital capture. So if I have a random content idea that I want to write down, I have a spot to do that in my notes app. If I have a random task that needs to be done, same thing. If I have a random idea long-term that I want to do for the business, but I don't have my planner with me, I just write it down there. And oftentimes I'll write it down there anyway, because if it's a project that needs to be done within more than just one quarter, it's going to live in my program that I use. I use Notion. And actually that leads perfectly into my second point here, is that you have to figure out what software you're going to use to organize your life. So I use a couple different softwares. I have Notion for a chunk of my business, pretty much actually most of my business, for planning purposes, that is, and some actually personal things in there as well. I use Sunsama for business tasks that need to be done on a weekly basis. Everything that goes into making these videos and episodes, and everything that needs to be done for email marketing, website development, product development, all that stuff. And I've been using that for a while, and that's working fairly well. And I use, obviously, the Notes app on my phone. So I have systems for everything. And you have to decide, if you don't have certain softwares, you have to decide which ones you're going to use. There's 1,000,001 different softwares out there, but you have to just make that decision, and you have to structure that into your day. Okay, so let's move on to the next section, which is going to be my environment. How do I hit the reset button on my space, on my living space? One way, this is pretty obvious, but the one way I do that is I clean up. If things get messy, I just can't think. Right now, as I mentioned in the last couple of episodes, the basement is still, my office is down here in the basement. I'm still kind of under construction. I'm looking at a shop vac right now. I have some spackling to do, but the floors are coming along, and there is subconscious mental chaos that ensues for everybody when you have location chaos, if you will. Now, granted, there is another side of this coin, is that when you looked at these geniuses, and you look at Einstein, apparently Einstein was somebody who lived like a madman. He was like a mess, pigsty, stuff everywhere, and that works for him. I knew a couple people in college like that, very smart people, extremely talented and hardworking, and very very gifted people, and their rooms and their dorms and their apartments were horrific. For me, I like to make sure that before I do anything, with my environment, I like to clean up. Next, I like to prime my environment, and we are going to actually probably in March, we're going to be talking a lot about environment design. It is a very important topic that this is actually a perfect episode that'll kind of spark some beginnings to some of the content we're going to be making in March revolved around environment. And I think for me, I like to prime it. So what does that mean? Well, at the end of the night, I like to make sure that I bring the planner upstairs. Why do I need to do that? Well, the very first thing in the morning that I do, obviously I come down, go to the bathroom, let the dog out, feed him, all that kind of stuff, get my water ready and all that stuff. But the very first part of my AM routine is I do my gratitude section. If my planner is not upstairs, it is not going to get done. I have to prime the environment. I prime my environment to make sure the kitchen is not only ready to go, all the dishes are done, but my coffee is made, water's filled, grounds are set. Any clothes that I might be wearing are at least all away. Usually I kind of put out, okay, here's the clothes I'm wearing. Granted, I pretty much wear the same jeans like over and over again. So there's not much decision making that I have to make in what I'm wearing that day, but it's one less thing. Environment's primed. That is just some of the ways that I kind of, now again, those are consistent things, but if my space is dirty, that's how I have to hit the reset button. Now, I may have to take a full 3 hours to clean up. I may have to, go through, and I'm telling you this because I literally just did this. I had this corner where you can't see. I had stuff really piling up, had to process all the paperwork, had to file them away, had to put the things where they need to go. Some of the things that didn't have homes, I had to create homes. That's another way how some of this gets out of hand. When you have a mess that starts building, a lot of times it starts because you have that one thing that you don't know where it goes. So you have to have a junk drawer. Everybody has a junk drawer, but you have to have a junk drawer almost in every room of your house. And it's not even necessarily a junk drawer, but it's a miscellaneous drawer. And you want to keep that as least filled as possible, but you do need to have that. I have one. I'm looking right at it right now. The last step to resetting your environment is to eliminate what you can. If you have stuff that you just know you're not going to use, just throw it out. You don't tell yourself you're going to sell it on eBay because you're probably not. I'm speaking from experience. And again, if you have a designated place, I have a designated place that I have a lot of things that will sell on eBay once I have a moment to actually do it. But I'm looking at a second one of these, not pop filters, but fuzzy balls, right, for the microphone. I'm probably never, ever going to use it. I should probably throw that out. I have a second stand of this. Now, the thing is, I bought it. It's probably $20-$30. One last thing I do to prime my environment. I don't know if you just heard that, but that was actually a perfect timing. Perfect timing. I have Lady A or Alexa to do some things for me throughout the day. That happens. I have her I have her remind me certain things. So there's timers that go off, and at 9:50, the timer goes off telling me that I have 10 more minutes to work because my close down time at night is 10 o'clock. That's when I plan my day literally in my planner, and then I go upstairs and hang with Ash. So that was the alarm actually technically telling me that I'm done. So I'm going to wrap this up here. But at least it's there to know, to remind me, to get me out of either my creative state or my flow state, and to say, keep moving on with your whatever your routine, in this case, the PM routine. So really, really easy ways you could do that with obviously Google Home. I think Siri might be able to do some stuff. So voice-activated devices, I think, are really great for helping you along. And the last thing that I like to do in order to try to hit the reset button is my relationships and any issues I have with them. So a couple ways I like to do this. One, I like to, if I need to apologize for something, and if I'm in a fight with somebody, and sometimes this is the most important thing when we're trying to, we're stressed and we're trying to just kind of clear the slate. If it has to do with another human being, you have to be agnostic in your feelings here. You just have to either let go or apologize or whatever it is, but sincerely mean it and just be done on your end. Now, the other person may not be done, and that's another conversation for another day. But when it comes to a fight you're having with somebody close to you, if that's what you need to do in order to reset, you have to let go. You have to remove yourself from the emotional problem and just say, well, I'm no longer letting this affect me. I'm sorry for what I did. It's over. It's done. That's how I hit the reset button. Sometimes it may, you may take, you're clearing your schedule. You may go snowboarding alone or whatever. But that's kind of how I do it. Sometimes it takes some time to get there, and I totally understand that, but you have to just let go. The way you let go and some of the tactics behind that is perspective. That is the coolest way I know how to let go of any emotion that I'm having with somebody. That's, whether you're in a fight or just having a tisk or whatever. The perspective that you're maybe living in America, you're making money, you have a roof over your head, you have people who love you, like that alone is enough perspective to say, like, why am I fighting about the garbage being full and overflowing? Why am I fighting about, the dish not being, or whatever, something stupid, right? It's complete lack of perspective because it's just, it's life. The life gets in the way. I completely get it. But the way we hit that reset is by having perspective in order to say, oh, this doesn't matter. Let go. I'm done. Speaking of being done, those are the 5 ways that I know how to hit the reset button. In the comments below, let me know which is you think the most powerful that would be able to help you hit the reset button. Whether it's just taking a day and going somewhere, maybe literally just journaling in the park for a few hours, or maybe you just need to let go and apologize, for that fight you've been having. Or maybe you just have to do some cleaning around the house. Let me know in the comments. We'd love to hear it. And of course, as mentioned before, if you aren't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you can be notified of the next time we put out a video. Once again, thank you so much for being here. And of course, I'll see you next week on the Upgrade My Rituals podcast.